Good day, everyone. Welcome to the audio discussion for the ethical and sustainable sourcing. For the objectives, first is to understand and appreciate the trends in ethical and sustainable sourcing. Next is to define and describe the terms fair trade products, the green purchasing, the social responsibility, supply-based rationalization, the BMI, the supply co-location and collaborative negotiations, and describe how ethical and sustainable sourcing strategies are developed and implemented, understand the use of environmental supplier certifications, define outsourcing and how it differs from purchasing, discuss the importance of developing strategic alliances, define benchmarking and discuss how it is used in strategic sourcing, and understand the benefits of using 3PL suppliers. Global economic recession, this is about global competitors. Strategic sourcing is about using the firm's external resources in ways that support the long-term goals of the firm. We also have the trends in corporate downsizing, building competitive advantage, and development of successful and sustainable strategy. Ethical sourcing is that which attempts to take into account the public consequences of organizational buying or bring about positive social change through organizational buying behavior. Business ethics is the application of ethical principles to business situations and also called as social responsibility or the CSR. It has two approaches. First is the utilitarianism is about the ethical creates the greatest good for the greatest number of people. And the next is the rights and duties. It states that some actions are right in themselves without regard for the consequences. Here are some of the ethical trading initiatives base code. First is employment freely chosen. No forced, bonded, or involuntary prison labor. The workers are not required to lodge deposits with and are free to leave after reasonable notice. Second is the freedom of association and the right to collective bargaining are respected. In this, workers have the right to join trade unions and to bargain collectively. Employers adopt an open attitude toward the activities of trade unions. The worker representatives are not discriminated against, where the right to collective bargaining is restricted under law. The employer facilitates the development of parallel means for bargaining. Next is working conditions are safe and hygienic. A safe and hygienic work environment shall be provided. Adequate steps shall be taken to minimize the causes of hazards in the workplace. Workers shall receive regular and recorded health and safety training, access to clean toilet facilities and sanitary facilities for food storage shall be provided. The accommodations shall be clean to meet the basic needs of workers. The company shall assign responsibility for clean and safety to a senior management representative. 4. Child labor shall not be used. So there shall be no recruitment of child labor. Persons under 18 shall not be employed at night or in conditions. Policies and procedures shall conform to the provisions of the relevant international labor organization standards. Next is about the living wages that should be paid. Wages and benefits for a standard work week meet national legal or industry standards, whichever is higher. The wages should be enough to meet basic needs. All workers shall be provided with written and understandable information about employment conditions before they enter employment and about the particulars of their wages each time that they are paid. Deductions from wages as a disciplinary measure shall not be permitted. 6 is about the working hours that should not excessive. Working hours comply with laws and benchmark industry standards, whichever affords greater protection. The worker shall not, on a regular basis, be required to work in excess of 48 hours per week and shall be provided with at least 1 day off for every 7-day period. Overtime shall be voluntary, shall not exceed 12 hours per week, and shall always be compensated at a premium rate. Next is no discrimination is practiced. There is no discrimination in hiring, compensation, access to training, termination, or retirement based on race, caste, national origin, religion, age, disability, gender, the marital status, sexual orientation, union membership, or political affiliation. Next is regular employment is provided. Work performed must be of recognized employment relationships established through national law and practice. The obligations to employees under labor or social security laws shall not be avoided through the use of labor-only contracting, subcontracting, or through apprenticeship schemes where there is no intent to employ skills. Then lastly is no harsh or inhumane treatment is allowed. The physical abuse or discipline, the threat of physical abuse, sexual or other harassment, or other forms of intimidation shall be prohibited. Next, we have the clean purchasing, which according to Institute for Supply Management is about making environmentally conscious decisions throughout the purchasing process, beginning with product and process design and through product disposal. When we say sustainability, this includes green purchasing as well as some aspects of social responsibility and financial performance. This is the ability to meet the needs of current supply chain members without hindering the ability to meet the needs of future generations in terms of economic, environmental, and social challenges. Fair trade products is one manufactured or grown by a disadvantaged producer in a developing country that receives a fair price for their goods. Sustainable sourcing is also about the green purchasing, which focuses in the practice of purchasing that is aimed at ensuring that purchased products or materials meet environmental objectives of the organization, such as waste reduction, hazardous material elimination, recycling, and remanufacturing and material reuse. Sustainable sourcing is defined as one activity then within the larger umbrella terms of sustainability. It includes green purchasing, some form of financial benefit, as well as aspects of ethical sourcing. This is very simply, it has defined as a process of purchasing goods and services that takes into account the long-term impact on people, profits, and the planet. Develop ethical and sustainable sourcing strategies. Supply chain ethical and sustainable sourcing strategy framework. First is establish corporate ethical and sustainable sourcing policies. These verify staff management support, establishes a vision and direction, enforces the importance of ethical and sustainable sourcing, and reduces confusion. Second is train purchasing staff, implement policies among users and suppliers. This ensures that buyers are skilled in environmental and social considerations in sourcing and that users and suppliers understand why and how purchasing decisions are made. Number three is prioritizing items based on ethical and sustainability opportunities and ease of implementation. Get started. Allows buyers to pick low-hanging fruit to provide evidence for successful strategy implementation. Fourth is to develop a measurement system. Measurement provides accountability and a way to improve over time, should be reviewed periodically. Number five, monitor progress, make improvements in terms of certified fair trade and green products and services. use performance measures to identify weaknesses, step up efforts to develop better capabilities in the firm and its supply base. Then lastly is to expand focus to include apartments and customers, increase brand value. Please use the purchasing department success and influence to grow awareness in the firm and among customers. Communicate successes and programs to stakeholders. Next is supply-based rationalization programs. So we have the supply-based reduction and the supply-based optimization. The benefits are the reduction of purchase prices, fewer supplier management problems, closer and more frequent collaboration between the buyer and supplier, and then a greater overall levels of quality and delivery reliability. Next is the ethical and sustainable supplier certification program. Strategic supplier alliances are formalized type of collaborative relationship that involve commitments to long-term cooperation, shared benefits and cost, joint problem solving, continuous improvement, and information sharing. This is also a way to identify strategic alliance candidates or to further develop existing alliances. Outsourcing products and services. Outsourcing is develop the sales or the growth of sales, or outsourcing develop the growth of sales, the concentration on the business core activities, city discounts, the marketing value of sustainability, the reduction of staffing levels, and the reduction of management problems. While the insourcing, referred as backsourcing, this may experience problems. This may cause unhappy with the level of innovation provided by the outsourcer. That's why they have this decision of having a source side, okay, and then reduction of product lead time, improve customers, and then last is employees to think more like owners. Core sourcing is about selective sourcing. So this is sharing of a process or function between internal staff and an external supplier. The firm's flexibility to decide where to outsource, and it develops long-term supplier relationship. Early supplier involvement. This is about the decision-making capacity for purchase timing and quantities, also about the cost, quality, and delivery timing improvements. When we say value engineering, these are techniques with help from the supplier allows firms to design better quality and cost into the products from the time a product first hits the shelves. We also have the BMI or the vendor managed inventories. These are services for key customers, which is perhaps one of the more value enhancing activities performed by suppliers. Customers' perspective about BIM or the BMI, allowing their suppliers to track inventories and determine delivery schedules and other quantities, save times. And for Reuther point, this allows the supplier to profile demand and determine an accurate and then ship an order quantity when the inventory levels become low enough. Co-managed inventories is a collaborative form of PMI. The buyer and the supplier reach an agreement regarding the buyer's periodic demand. Supplier co-location, this is more advanced vendor managed inventory situation wherein a supplier's employee is permanently housed in the purchasing department of the buyer's organizations, acting as both buyer and supplier representative. Strategic alliance development refers to increasing the firm's key or strategic capabilities. The benefits are the market penetration, access to new technologies and knowledge, and then higher return on investment. Negotiating win-win strategic alliance agreements. Collaborative negotiation, integrative or win-win negotiations. Members from both parties must trust each other, believe in the validity of each other's perspective, and be committed to working together. Developing a collaborative negotiation infrastructure first is to build process, develop negotiation database, design a negotiation launch process, and institute a feedback mechanism. Distributive negotiations favors primarily one side's interest only. The use of e-procurement systems, vision a large volume of small purchases, software that filters for social environmental benefits are cost savings, freeing up of time for purchasing staff, sustainability and ethical purchasing efforts of the firm, social media. So we have different social media platforms, the LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, or other online services. For the social media in procurement, communications repository, advanced networking, knowledge sourcing, and SEM cloud communication automation.